Thanks very much, comrades, brothers and friends. It's quite appropriate that I'm here in London at this date to address the 75th meeting that I've spoken in relation to the bedroom tax since the beginning of February. And it's quite appropriate that we have a date that's almost exactly coinciding with 155 years ago. Some of you may have been there at the time. It was when Benjamin Disraeli interrupted the normal business of Parliament on the 15th of July 1858 to introduce emergency legislation for the purification of the River Thames. Because in his word, that noble river had become a stygian pool of the unbearable, the unspeakable, and the horrific. It had overflowed with human excrement. Such was the increase in London's population at that time, and in those days there was no sewage system. Parliament was interrupted. The MPs, as they went around the business, carried handkerchiefs that were specially scented. The Parliament officers were ordered to hang giant lime-soaked sheets on the windows of the chamber to keep the smell from the Thames out of the chamber. Brothers and sisters, 155 years later, Parliament should be interrupted again. Not by a Prime Minister. It should be interrupted by a series of generalised strikes organised by the TUC against austerity, against the attacks on workers, whether they be in employment or whether they be unemployed. And just like 155 years ago, we should order the parliamentary officers to hang those lime-soaked sheets on the windows of the Parliament chamber, not, brothers and sisters, to keep the smell out, but, brothers and sisters, to keep the smell in. The smell. The smell of greed, the smell of hypocrisy from these political space cadets who introduce a bedroom tax when not one of them have a clue what a council house looks like, let alone having to live in a council house. A parliament with a cabinet of 29 members, 23 of them personal millionaires, space cadets like Mr. Lord Freud. You would have never heard of him if it wasn't for the bedroom tax. Sitting in his comfy red bench in the House of Lords, picking up his £1,000 a day just for turning up, coming from his comfortable 12-bedroom mansion in Essex and pontificating to the poor of this country how they should live their lives. Telling those who are disabled, relying upon benefits, that they have to move to a smaller property or they have to get a job. Of course, they employ Atos, don't they? They employ Atos as the new Lourdes. You don't need to go to Rome any longer to be cured of your disability. You just go to an Atos interview. It's rumoured they got one of their examinations terribly wrong only a few months ago when they were called to the Ritz Hotel in London to examine a woman and they passed her fit for work. And this occasion isn't so sad that she died only a few days later. Brothers and sisters, Atos, we should be ashamed of the fact that they receive £1.6 billion public money, to try and harass and intimidate and frighten the poor and the disabled, to make them fit for work. Don't they know that when you are in a wheelchair because of multiple sclerosis, you'll be in that same wheelchair the week after and the year after? It doesn't matter what Atos says to you. And yet you've got the disgrace of the boss of Atos. You might have seen it yourself just last week. Because we're all in it together, remember. We're all in it together when it comes to austerity. But the boss of Atos, Terry Breton, qualified for a wage increase of £280,000. Some of you would be saying to yourselves, by the way, surely that guy doesn't get paid that. No, he doesn't get paid that. That was his increase. His actual wage, brothers and sisters, is £2,329,000. The director of Atos. How many people know that? Isn't it about time that we highlighted the hypocrisy of these individuals who pontificate to the poor and the disabled, who tell the likes of Amanda and Peter Papworth from Inverness, Amanda who suffers from serious multiple sclerosis, is confined to a wheelchair. Her husband Peter is a full-time carer, gave up his full-time job to become her full-time carer. That's what you do when you love someone. You save the state thousands of pounds, by the way, by giving up your job to become the carer. But in the process of doing that, Inverness Council has sent Amanda and Peter Papworth a bill for increased rent of £90 a month because they have a spare bedroom that Peter sleeps in. Because Amanda's multiple sclerosis is so severe, she has to sleep in a hospital pressurised bed. She has spasms during the nights in her legs. She gets very little sleep. If Peter was able to share a bedroom, they can't get another bed in it. The bedroom is not big enough. But if he was able to share a bedroom, he wouldn't be able to be a carer because he wouldn't get any sleep either. That family's being penalised by these swine. Penalised for the crime of being poor and disabled. That's why we should say at a meeting like this, brothers and sisters, that these bastards have went even further than Mrs. Thatcher ever went. Thatcher was a horrible creature. Thatcher introduced the most horrible, divisive measures designed to impoverish the poor further and to enrich her supporters. But even the poll tax never reached the depths of depravity that this bedroom tax reaches. The poll tax attacked us all. We were all fighting the poll tax. The bedroom tax is like a poverty-seeking missile. It's only those who are on housing benefit that are getting attacked. How do you get housing benefit? You need to be poor in the first place. It's a means-tested benefit, remember. And then you look at the statistics of the 660,000 families affected by bedroom tax across the UK. 2/3 of those families are disabled families. This isn't just a tax that affects the poor. It affects the poor and the disabled. The likes of a young lad from Ibrox in Glasgow, young Andrew McIntyre, living with his mother, 76 years of age. An amputee, lost a leg through to poor circulation, gangrene set in, had his leg cut off below the knees, confined to a wheelchair. His mother of 76 has now been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease and has been taken into care, full-time care. Andrew gets a double whammy. Not only does he lose his mother to Alzheimer's, he gets a letter from the local housing association looking for an extra £50 a month because he's now over-occupied because his mother has been taken into care. Brothers and sisters, I've got to say to you, I'm personally not affected by the bedroom tax, but as I've said at the 75 meetings I've addressed all across England and Scotland, unfortunately I've not been to Wales yet. As I say at each of those meetings, I am not personally affected by the bedroom tax, but I am personally offended by the bedroom tax, and each and every one of us is personally offended by the bedroom tax. We have a movement that has been built from the grassroots in Scotland. In just about every single community, we now have over 80 different local anti-bedroom tax campaigns that have been organised by people in the communities, determined to fight back, calling public meetings, sometimes 50, sometimes 200 and 300 turning up, establishing anti-bedroom tax campaigns, affiliating to the All Scotland Anti-Bedroom Tax Federation that now boasts affiliation from Glasgow Unison, from Glasgow Trades Council, from Edinburgh Trades Council, from Edinburgh Unison, now boasts affiliation from over 80 of those local groups, and is committed, brothers and sisters, is committed to a motto that was designed on one of the meetings that founded the West of Scotland Federation, when a woman called Fiona Jordan, who'd never been at a political meeting in her life before, a grandmother who is personally affected by the bedroom tax after losing her job 3 years ago, helps raise her grandchildren, so she needs a spare bedroom, as many grandparents do, because they help raise their grandchildren, and so they should. How dare they penalise grandparents for the crime of wanting to help raise the kids? Brothers and sisters, Fiona Jordan stood up at that meeting. She was very nervous, and she said, "This is the first time I've ever spoke at a meeting, but I just want to say, if you'll stand by me, I'll stand by you." Brothers and sisters, what we have to say loud and clear, in every community, in every part of England, Wales and Scotland, we have to say loud and clear, we will not stand by and see a family evicted for the crime of being poor. We will organise walls of human solidarity. We will prevent eviction from taking place. We did it 25 years ago when we stopped the sheriff officers in Scotland and you stopped the bailiffs in England and Wales. We can do it again here. And I'll tell you what, we got a wee Brucey bonus, didn't we? 25 years ago, we never just beat the poll tax. We get rid of Mrs. Thatcher into the bargain. Brothers and sisters, let's stand up. Let's stand united. Let's unite all of our communities, politically, through the trade union movement, through the tenants' organisations. Let's unite to bring down the bedroom tax